Totem pole, 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 totem pole.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Hello, everybody. This is Crazy Bills Fan, and I love the Buffalo Bills more than life itself. Howard Schotsky, Jay Freeman. We're talking about the top 10 returning NFL head coaches. Number 10, the greatest coach in the NFL, Sean McDermott. Howard Schotsky, Life Lessons Podcast. Will Sean McDermott still be employed after this season?
That's a good question. With Josh Allen at quarterback, you gotta win that ring when you have an elite quarterback. So there's a good chance he might.
Coach Jay Freeman, how do you feel about the greatest football coach of all time, a graduate of William & Mary, Sean McDermott, ranked number 10 of the top NFL coaches returning?
Hey, Crazy Bills fan, we're talking about the top 10 coaches coming back to NFL football. Hey, so I thought you were talking about Marv Levy, but he went to Harvard. So it kind of took me a minute to get your track, and you said the greatest of all time, Sean McDermott. Yeah.
Well, Marv Levy too, and William & Mary is just as good as Harvard, and Marv Levy was the head coach at William & Mary. Sean McDermott is a graduate of William & Mary. You are very smart, Jay Freeman, for a guy from Washington.
Well, I appreciate that. We don't have as good a buffalo wings as you guys have, but we have won a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. So
we won 4 Super Bowls, 4 in the 90s.
Well, all-time Bills fan, I want you to know I am a Bills fan. I have Shane Conlon in my classroom. I have Cornelius Bennett in my classroom. I have Nate Odoms in my classroom. But I don't have any Super Bowl memorabilia, unfortunately, Bills fan, because we came 0-4. 0-4.
Life lessons. Howard Schotsky, have you got any life lessons that you would like to impart today to Totem Pole Nation that you learned maybe over the weekend or you were reminded of?
I'll tell you what. How about what I enjoyed the most from this weekend was watching Coach Troy hand out free cards to the kids at the card show. And it just reminds you how much the hobby can do for kids.
One generation is passing on the love for a sport to another generation. The part of the hobby I don't like are the guys that are in it for the money, and there's kids that are in it for the money rather than the love. I have the greatest Doug Flutie collection of anyone on the planet. Jay Freeman, what life lesson would you like to impart to Totem Pole Nation? I know we're talking about the top 10 NFL head coaches returning. Sean McDermott was number 10, but what life lesson do you have for Totem Pole Nation?
Well, I really like what Howard said because I really like what he said about the kids, because you can see the kids' joy on their faces, and you can see how Troy Taylor's act of kindness of giving out those cards was creating a lot of love and joy in that space. And you can see the love and the joy overwhelming the greed and the money at that moment, right? That was positive. Now, what about this? What about the people that we love, our brothers that we love that are going through that hurricane stuff yesterday and today? I think that's pretty important. And I think the life lesson there is, love your family, love your friends, love your brothers, and make sure that you look out for each other when hard times come. You know what I mean? When you're going through a hurricane, Bills fan, you gotta put boards on your windows. You gotta put sandbags by your doors. You gotta get some bottled water. You gotta prepare. You know what I mean? And
Well,
and
I
Bill,
I, I think the
so
other
good.
thing I got to remember, Jay, is that no day is promised to us. And you go through something like that, people may lose their lives. And um, it's a shame when life gets cut short like that.
That's right, Howard. That's
I'd
right,
get rid
Howard.
of crazy Bills fan. I mean, he's delusional. And the Buffalo Bills, I just got back from Orchard Park, New York, and to get a Stephon Diggs jersey for $14.95, I mean, people were telling me I got ripped off. We got Jay in the comments. Jay, you are new. You are a Detroit Lions fan. Jay, welcome to Totem Pole Nation. This is for you. YouTube, we love you. Totem Pole Nation, we love you. Detroit Lions, we even love you. So Jay says Detroit Lions will destroy. And I'm sitting here right now. I was looking to see who number 9 on the list was, but it's not Dan Campbell. But the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell, Panay Sewell, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have a very, very talented football team coming back this year in the NFC North. Howard Shotsky, what is it about the Detroit Lions? And do you play fantasy football? Coach Freeman does not. Coach Baldwin's 90% of his games. But do you like fantasy football? And what do you think about the Detroit Lions this season?
I was a big fantasy football fan, and I was in a league for about maybe 8 years or so, and unfortunately, the league was run by somebody whose parents I had to file suit again. So,
Oh, man.
well, it's a good story, actually. So one day I pull up, CBS Sports. I'm going to start getting ready for the draft.
Yeah.
And I don't see any leagues there. And I realized all of a sudden, hey, they kicked you out.
Ha, ha, ha. That was the end of
you out, Howard.
What's that?
Well, because there was a lawsuit going on between some people. Yeah. And
okay.
Howard got kicked out of the fantasy football league. We got a new guy, 5's out. Green Bay will clap them cheeks.
Hey,
there you go. Where is the man from Seoul? The Green Bay Packers, Jared Love. I think their head coach is on here. Aaron Rodgers would not put the Green Bay Packers head coach on this top 10.
I think you mean Jordan Love.
Exactly. Jared Love, Jordan Love. Thank you very much for correcting me when I'm wrong.
I'm not sure who Jared Love is.
Jared Love. I think I was thinking about the Subway guy. But the Green Bay Packers, that's not good when people tell you look like Jared from Subway. I guess that means I lost weight and I got some bad glasses. But Howard Shotsky, we got 5's out. He's new. He wants to talk about the Green Bay Packers. This is for you. Ranking the NFL's top 10 returning head football coaches, number 10 was Sean McDermott from the Buffalo Bills. This is Pro Football Focus's list, PFF. And we've had comments from the Detroit Lions. Now we got one about the Green Bay Packers. Jay Freeman, did you get to comment about the Detroit Lions? How do you feel about the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers? That's a different style of football up there in the NFC North.
Yes, it is. Hey, I got to say something about Detroit Lions and their head coach.
Yes.
Listen, everybody thought it was a gimmick. Everybody thought it was a gimmick when he said, "I'm gonna bite your kneecaps off." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you watch how he's led them. And listen, Howard, the amazing Howard Shotsky, incredible Troy Taylor, Total Pole Nation. We try to
Yes.
set trends and identify trends here instead of being on the other side and pointing them out. So the trend I want to talk about is this: former excellent players becoming head coaches as leaders. Former excellent players becoming head coaches as leaders. And that's a paradigm shift. And we've seen it now going on for about 3 or 4 years. It's not the same thing as a former player being brought back as like a figurehead as a coach. This is different. This is like servant leadership from the front. So, what do you guys, you understand what I'm saying? And because if you're a coach like that and you were a player, you can speak to young players with authority about technique, about the game. And you can speak as somebody who played the game, right? So
I agree with you, other than I wouldn't say excellent, because excellent players really don't make the best coaches. I would say
I agree with that too.
Because Michael Jordan ain't got the patience to coach anybody. Larry Bird, he took the Pacers to, the playoffs. And was he the coach during the Malice in the Palace? I can't remember, man. I don't think he was. They probably would have won it all that year if that fight wouldn't have happened. So, Howard, do you agree? Is it not? It's not excellent players.
No, I mean, it's players. It's just players.
What do you say, Howard?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because I think
go ahead.
The average player has to really focus a lot more on technique and the things you need to be a good player rather than, a guy with elite talent.
Yeah, so number 10 on the list was Sean McDermott from the Buffalo Bills. We're going over the top 10 returning NFL head coaches. Number 9 on the list, Kevin Stefanski from the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns lost their O-line coaches, both of them, Callahan and Scott Peters. Scott Peters went to the New England Patriots. Callahan went with his son to the Titans. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett, Wyatt Teller from Virginia, the Cleveland Browns. Does Kevin Stefanski, Howard Shotsky, does he deserve to be in this top 10 at number 9?
I would say no.
You would say no.
I don't think they've really done very much in Cleveland.
Well, I respect your honesty. Jay Freeman, what do you think about Kevin Stefanski, head football coach of the NFL Cleveland Browns? WWE SummerSlam was there. I was surprised they didn't have any Cleveland Browns players come out. But what do you think about Kevin Stefanski, head football coach of the NFL Cleveland Browns? Hey, Japan, we love you. We love you, Japan. This is for you. I wish the man from Seoul was here. He would love it. Jay Freeman, what do you think about Kevin Stefanski, head football coach of the NFL Cleveland Browns?
Kevin Stefanski from Cleveland Browns. Listen, I probably give him a little bit better grade than Howard on this. He's at number 9. That is kind of questionable a little bit, but he has done a good job. Like Coach Troy Taylor said, I don't like letting the O-line coach go to Tennessee and the assistant O-line coach go to New England. I don't like that because I personally think those guys are awesome. But I think the guy has been a steady influence. And I think, there's been a lot of chaos there, with the quarterback leaving, the new quarterback coming in. And there was a big injury last year with a running back. And I think he handled it okay. I think he's a pretty good leader. I pulled for the guy before. I watched him at the end of a season I think 2 years ago, and I was pulling for the guy. I found myself being like, this guy's coaching his butt off. This guy's doing a heck of a job. Because, you know, it is a culture change. It is a culture change in Cleveland. You got to become a winner. You got to win. And you got to win when it matters. I don't know. I think he does a pretty good job. I think it might be a decent slot for him right there at 9.
Winston Jones. I love clapping hot Bills fans. Yes, the Buffalo Bills. This is for you. Aries 106 says football is fake. Thank you very much for commenting. This is for you, Aries. Appreciate you. Well, number 10 on the list was Sean McDermott, head football coach of the NFL Buffalo Bills. He was filling the last spot in the top 10 was tough, as numerous coaches were worthy of consideration. Pro Football Focus said. Now, Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns, I don't remember, are y'all aware of this? They pretty much swept all the NFL awards last year. He's the NFL's reigning coach of the year. Kevin Stefanski, the Cleveland Browns head coach, is the NFL reigning coach of the year. Stefanski proved his worth as a head coach by making the playoffs with the Browns team that was really lacking at the quarterback position in 2023. And they lost Nick Chubb to a horrific injury. So Kevin Stefanski overcame not having his quarterback, bringing back Joe Flacco, losing Nick Chubb at running back, to being the NFL reigning coach of the year. All right, number 8. In at number 8. Number 8, head football coach of the NFL Houston Texans, quarterback by C.J. Stroud. DeMeco Ryans. Like Dan Campbell in Detroit, Ryans has led a significant turn of fortunes as the Texans head coach. Now, I would say that DeMeco Ryans was a good player. Excellent is like Hall of Fame worthy. DeMeco was he was a great NFL player. He was a Pro Bowler, I'm pretty sure. DeMeco Ryans, head football coach of the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud's the quarterback. Number 8, DeMeco Ryans. In my opinion, Howard Shotsky, they got DeMeco kind of low here. I mean, because he was the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, went to the Super Bowl. Then he goes to the Houston Texans, and they're right in the playoffs. And they won a playoff game, I think.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it shows you again the importance of that quarterback position, because take C.J. Stroud off that team and tell me what they do.
Hey, don't be clouding the argument with facts, Howard. All right, I don't like it when you do that. You're too smart. You're actually using logic. Jay Freeman.
A good coach can become a great coach with a good quarterback.
Yes.
I love it, Howard. Love it. Howard.
What do you think, Jay Freeman? DeMeco Ryans, head football coach of the NFL Houston Texans, quarterback by C.J. Stroud. He's in there at number 8. He was the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers before going over to the Houston Texans. MK is in the house, the Pittsburgh Steelers number 1 fan. You made our day, MK. MK, this is for you.
MK is in the house.
MK, you make my day. Every day I see you. I know you're back in school. I see that Pittsburgh Steelers logo right over Howard Shotsky's head. DeMeco Ryans at number 8, Jay Freeman, head football coach of the NFL
Yes,
Houston
sir.
Texans, quarterback by C.J. Stroud. What do you think?
Yes, sir. I love the pick here. Like you said, I think it could be higher. Like we just talked about with Dan Campbell. And guys, I apologize. I'm bombing through the 4:30 dark. When I said it's excellent players, I should have clarified, because I know that better than myself, because I was a walk-on in college.
So was I.
The best coaches I know was a walk-on. Because you don't have all the God-given ability, like Howard said, You got to pay attention to the little details, and that makes you an excellent coach. Many great physical players become crappy coaches because they can't say, do it like I did it. Because doing it like I did it is a God-given ability, right? But like you said, DeMeco Ryans was a very good player and a inside backer for Houston. Here's what I'd say. Is there a pattern with these guys, with these coaches, that the teams have drafted well in the offensive line, in the defensive front? And I think when you look at some of the success of some of these coaches, is a lot of it's tied directly to the personnel department. Are you drafting well? Are you taking advantage of the college draft? And just like C.J. Stroud gets everybody fired up on the offensive side, Will Anderson was Defensive Rookie of the Year on the defensive side. And like I was reminded the other day, Hall of Fame game, Canton, Ohio, listening to Tony Dungy talk. Because he talked about how
Tony Dungy, head coach the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, head coach the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday night NBC football. Tell me what Tony Dungy said. I love Tony Dungy.
And Howard Schotsky and Troy Taylor and Total Pole Nation, the thing that Tony Dungy, former NFL Hall of Fame coach, said that reminded me of this situation is he said, we had our Peyton Manning.
Yes.
Now we had to go get our closer because we knew we'd be in a lot of tight games in the fourth quarter, and I needed somebody who could close us out on defense and go get the quarterback. Well, listen, if that ain't exactly what DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans have done in Houston in the last year's draft, the year before's draft, is they got C.J. Stroud, up-and-coming, great young quarterback, and they got Will Anderson, who is a dominator off the edge.
Hey, Jay, turn your camera off. I think it'll look better if you turn your camera off and just have audio until you get some daylight. Y'all, that's the dedication that Jay Freeman brings. The rest of these guys that want to be in Totem Pole, they're hugging the pillow. They're doing something else. Jay Freeman is on here getting it in, and it's 4:30 in the morning, West Coast. We're East Coast guys. I've been up since 1 a.m. Howard Schotsky, I don't even know if he slept. But Coach Jay Freeman is here. We're talking about the top 10 NFL head coaches returning this season, 2024 NFL. The NFL is back. Jay, what's on your heart, man? I mean, Tony Dungy is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's funny because, I don't know if everybody at Total Pole Nation or even you guys know my whole story. I was always a defensive coach. I was always I was a little short nose guard, played at Furman a little bit, and I was a little nose guard, and I was a defensive coach, defensive line coach, defensive coordinator, always studied defense. But the reason I mentioned that is because then, about 2008, I was working at a school as a defense coordinator. I moved back to Washington, and the head coach got fired. Well, at that point, the guy could have thrown me in the garbage dump, but he made me into an offensive line coach. What I'm trying to say is this. I think defensive mind coach.
You're breaking up a little bit, Jay. You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know if you might not be near a good cell service. Number 7 on the list, and I'll get back to Jay when he gets good service. Number 7 on the ranking the NFL's top 10 returning head football coaches. Top 10 returning NFL head coaches for the 2024 NFL season. The NFL is back. This next guy played for Jim McNally at the Giants. He was a tight end. Dan Campbell. Howard Schotsky, head football coach, the Detroit Lions, the NFL Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell. Do you remember him when he was a player for the New York Giants? And what do you think about him at number 7?
I don't really remember Dan Campbell playing for the Giants.
Yes. So he must not have been excellent.
Yeah, but he's done very well as a head coach.
He's a heck of a coach. Hey, Jay, can you
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
I should be better. I'm in a
Campbell.
little
You're
town now.
excited now, Jay. You're on 10. You're on 10 out of 10 at 4:30 in the morning, Pacific Coast time in Seattle, Washington.
Yes, sir.
Dan Campbell,
Yes.
the NFL
Oh,
Detroit Lions. Talk a little bit about Dan Campbell, number 7 out of 10, top 10 NFL head coaches coming back. What do you think?
I love it.
Jay Freeman.
I love it because think about this. Hey, everyone in here knows the game of football. Everybody in here, is a player, this and that. Imagine if you're standing in front of a guy and you all make millions of dollars. And that guy still cares enough, still in good enough physical condition to do up downs with the team.
Yes.
With the team.
I love it.
Now, that's leading by example. And now listen, just because somebody played. They played in the NFL. They know what it's like. They know what road trips are like. They know what long cross-country flights are like. They know what getting cut is like. They know what the Turk coming to visit you is like. They know what those groupies and those breezes at every port of call is like. They know how people lose their money. He knows it. He knows it as a player.
He lived it. Yeah, you're right.
And that's why I think we see this movement in the NFL to establish, guys that play the game as the leaders of the team. And I think it's a great move for players. I think it's a move that puts the onus on the players and not on ownership and not on the traditional coaching model. Would you agree with that, guys?
Yeah. Yes. Dan Campbell, head coach, NFL, Detroit Lions, Pro Football Focus, PFF. This is what they said. They rated him number 7 out of 10 of the top NFL head coaches returning. Cat Stevens, shout out to Bills fan. Yeah. Crazy Bills fan. I had to kick him off the show. All right. So I need to change my name because he had to go. He wasn't getting any views. Kind of like Lambo if he don't get any views playing video games. That show's getting canceled. Yes, Howard, I love how you're fixing your camera there, Howard. See, I don't even have to coach you up. Like, if my head's here and your head's down here, you're smart enough to say, hey, I need to fix my camera.
Hey.
Dan Campbell, as a head coach, Dan Campbell, head football coach of the NFL Detroit Lions, has gone from the guy everyone laughed at for the comments about biting kneecaps to the guy who has turned the Detroit Lions franchise into a legitimate NFL Super Bowl contender. Now, 4th down, Coach Bald, wins 90% of his games in fantasy football. And I just want to tell everybody this. I've been a high school football coach in Richmond, Virginia for 25 years. Now, Howard Schotsky was an NFL player agent and coach agent for the last 30 years at least. Jay Freeman has been a master offensive line guru, has the number 1 Facebook group in the world, the Line Play Brotherhood, 100,000 subs. Cat Stevens, laugh out loud. You already know. 114 run. We got a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans. We love what Dan Campbell has been doing in Detroit. No doubt. Dan Campbell. Howard, when he came out there talking about biting kneecaps as a coach's agent, as a player agent, what did you think about that?
I just kind of laughed.
Yeah. I was like, wow, man, this guy, he's wild. I like him. No, number 7, Dan Campbell, NFL Detroit Lions. Hey, everybody that's new in here, 90% of the people that watch us, 90% of the people that watch Totem Pole Nation are subscribed to our channel. Other YouTube channels only have 5% of their viewers are subscribed. But that's the loyalty that Totem Pole Nation has for the people that are a part of this. Because just because you may be watching it or listening it or typing in the chat doesn't mean you're not a part of this. All right, so we got a lot of Steelers fans in here. Number 7 was Dan Campbell of the NFL Detroit Lions. Number 6 in the NFL top 10 returning head football coaches, according to PFF, Pro Football Focus. Matt LaFleur, head football coach of the NFL Green Bay Packers. If there was any doubt that Matt LaFleur's success for the Green Bay Packers in his first 4 seasons was simply because of Aaron Rodgers, that narrative was put to bed in 2023. With Jordan Love in his first season as a starting quarterback, the Green Bay Packers were tied with the Detroit Lions for 4th place in the NFL. Howard Shotsky, let's see what we got a comment here. Trouble Hunter, welcome back, Trouble Hunter. Trouble Hunter says Lions or Packers to win the North. The only thing about the NFL, it means not for long. So when you win, next season you get the hardest schedule. So the Lions, they're going to have a tough schedule, I think, just because they won last season. But the Lions, they got a lot of talent. So Howard Shotsky, in at number 6, Matt LaFleur, head football coach of the NFL Green Bay Packers, Trouble Hunter, who is awesome. Trouble Hunter, this is for you. Howard, what are you thinking about Matt LaFleur, head football coach of the NFL Green Bay Packers at number 6? And who wins the NFC North? Is it the Detroit Lions, coached by Dan Campbell, or is it Matt LaFleur, head football coach of the Green Bay Packers?
Well, I think the Green Bay Packers probably have the most talented young receiving corps in the entire league. I'm a fan of Matt LaFleur. I think he's done a good job there. He had to go from Aaron Rodgers and make that transition to Jordan Love, and that's not an easy thing to do, and they handled it somewhat seamlessly.
Vodka Gurgle, $5 super chat, Vodka Gurgle. This is for you, Vodka Gurgle. Vodka Gurgle, you've never been on here before, and I'm pretty sure that Jay Freeman has gurgled some vodka in his day. But thank you, Vodka Gurgle. Thank you, brother. We are the low man on the totem pole. We are the underdog. But we are competing in our live streams with Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, the Big Cat, Frank the Tank. What a blessing. We are blessed. We are blessed, Howard Shotsky. Jay Freeman, have you gurgled some vodka in your day? And what do you think about number 6, Matt LaFleur, head football coach of the NFL Green Bay Packers? And who wins the NFC North? Is it the Detroit Lions or is it the Green Bay Packers?
Well, I think it's a pretty great name, Gargle Vodka. If you didn't have any mouthwash, you could probably gargle some vodka and you'd probably be okay. You get you cleaned up a little bit.
Better than Listerine.
Yeah. Sometimes I used to have a little grapefruit juice. And I would do a little sip and a little sip. Anyway, let's not talk about that. This is a sports show. How about this, Totem Pole Nation and Howard Shotsky and also the amazing Troy Taylor? We're talking about the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Curly Lambeau. Hey, Curly Lambeau, right? Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra, the only team in the America in the National Football League that's owned by the fans. Unless I'm mistaken, that's the only fan-owned team in America.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go to the town of Green Bay, Wisconsin, you might get a little bit of different level of patience than other places. That might not be true, but it might be true. Because you've got those shareholders are the citizens of the town. and they're not going anywhere. Okay. I think the guy's doing a heck of a job. And here's something nobody ever wants to talk about. When you lose Aaron Rodgers, what do you get in return? When you lose good players or great players and they move somewhere else, what do you receive? Draft picks, draft capital, players. This game is about players. And if old Jimmy Johnson ever taught us something as Dallas Cowboys with the great train robbery, right? The great train robbery of Dallas when he shipped Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for enough draft picks to then win 3 Super Bowls. Is that correct? So,
Yes.
So I think when you send off an Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, there's a lot of people that cry tears. I don't know what's going to happen to my Packers. They're going to lose. Nope. They're going to stock up with better players around the young quarterback and go kick people's asses. Hey, listen, and one more thing about Detroit Lions, y'all. I don't think they mind a tougher schedule. I think those guys are gritty and grimy, and they're like their head coach, and they're ready to go to work. I would say the same thing about the Packers. There's this idea that whatever, they're up north, people don't quite, you know what I mean? But those guys are tough. And that guy does a great job, and he's got a great mind. And, and I think he prepares people well. I mean, look at what the quarterback has done. Is it Jordan Love? That's the quarterback, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Jared Love. Like I called him Jared Love earlier.
Well, you were thinking Jared Goff. It's all right. It's all right. Hey, there's one more little side note here.
Hey, we got a lot of comments. Hold on one second. Garrick Wilhide. Literally anything, any team doesn't matter because Garrick Wilhide says three-peat is going to happen this year for the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And don't forget about Patrick Mahomes, his brother, and his wife. They're very important in their own mind. Trouble Hunter. The narrative of Matt LaFleur, head football coach of the Green Bay Packers, success being a product of A-Rod is just a leftover Mike McCarthy headline with a different coat of paint. Wow, I'm going to have to read that again. Trouble Hunter. Are you accusing him of being like Mike Tomlin and, bringing in, having Bill Cowher's players, Trouble Hunter? The narrative of Matt LaFleur's success being a product of A-Rod is just a leftover Mike McCarthy's headline with a different coat of paint. Asiatic Girl says hello. Asiatic Girl, Garrick Wilhide, this is for y'all. Jay, I interrupted you. I wanted to say those comments, but what were you saying?
No, it's all good, Troy Taylor. I was just saying that I think that, remember Paul, the man from Seoul, South Korea, said, we better not sleep too much on the Bears. He says the Bears have an outside shot there in that division. I just thought that was interesting. The fact that he thinks that it's such a complete team that they might be able to get the quarterback ready, and make some noise. The Chicago Bears, he means. Yeah,
and I'm hearing about Caleb Williams. There's, reports coming out of camp that Caleb Williams, quarterback for the Chicago Bears, the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, basically is telling his teammates, we need to pick up the trash because – the custodians don't have to work so hard. We need to help them out. I don't know if they're he's supposedly adopted the Tom Brady diet. Is it phony? Is it genuine? I don't know. Number 6, Matt LaFleur, head football coach, the NFL Green Bay Packers. Trouble Hunter says Bears, the Chicago Bears are always a sleeper team in the preseason. Number 6, Matt LaFleur, NFL head coach, the Green Bay Packers. Number 5. Man, this is going to get some people fired up right here. Number 5, Howard Shatsky out of the 757 Denby High School this is the second guy in the top 10 that graduated from William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. Mike Tomlin, head football coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers haven't won a playoff game in TJ Watt's career, which isn't great considering that he's heading into his 8th season in the NFL in 2024. The Pittsburgh Steelers just signed Mike Tomlin to a new deal. MK, our number 1 5-star member of Totem Pole Nation, is a huge Steelers fan. She wanted Mike Tomlin fired at the end of the season. I was saying, sure, fire him. We'll take him at Washington. So, number 5, Howard Schotzky, Mike Tomlin, head football coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, quarterbacked by the two-headed monster of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. We got a comment here. Jacob Williams is saying, I do believe Russell Wilson will start most games. If it's up to Sierra, he will start all the games. But 2025 and onward, I think Mike Tomlin might use Justin Fields like the next Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. Jacob Williams, thank you for commenting. This is for you. Totem Pole Nation, we love you. 90% of the people that watch us are subscribed. Thank you so much for being a part of the team. Number 5 on the top 10 NFL returning head football coaches for the 2024 NFL season is Mike Tomlin, head football coach of the NFL Pittsburgh Steelers. Howard Schotzky, is Mike Tomlin rated too high at 5?
Well, first of all, I think we got a long way to go before we compare Justin Fields to Lamar Jackson.
He said, yeah, use him like a wildcat, I guess.
We got a team in Chicago that got rid of him because they didn't think he was very good. So we got to first see what Justin Fields can do. In terms of Tomlin, he's a respected NFL coach, but like you said, when was the last time they won a playoff game?
Yes. 8 years ago.
Okay.
Jay, what are you thinking, Jay? Jay Freeman. Mike Tomlin, number 5, Pittsburgh Steelers.
They made a bad
Mike Tomlin. What's that?
I was going to say they made a bad mistake with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I agree.
Tomlin, this is what Trouble Hunter says. Mike Tomlin, head football coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, can't evaluate quarterback talent. Now, I'm going to defer to the guy that was Michael Strahan and Brian Westbrook, 2 legendary NFL players' agents on this. Is Mike Tomlin responsible for evaluating the quarterback talent, or is that the Rooneys that wanted not to miss on the next Dan Marino, a.k.a. Kenny Pickett from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I don't really think that's Mike's job. Obviously as the head coach, he's going to decide who the starting quarterback is, but you got to play with who the personnel department gives you. And, there are also other factors that go into, sometimes ownership gets involved when they want a certain guy to play. So,
yes,
I'm not worried about that.
Jay Freeman, you look good, Jay. You can come on. I can see your face now. You kind of look like, well, maybe not. You look like Harvey Two-Face. I can see half your face.
Well, that's not good. That's not good.
Harvey Two-Face. Was it Two-Face Dent? Yeah. I'm feeling like the Joker today.
Yeah.
Jay Freeman, number 5. Mike Tomlin, head football coach to NFL Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you think?
Oh, this is a very meaty and loaded slot here, number 5, with Mike Tomlin. Hey, and just aside, because I'm driving in the car, when you said this is the second guy here to graduate from William and Mary, I said, well, damn, do we have a new cradle of coaches then? Is it no longer Kent State? Is now it's William and Mary? Let's.
Well, you got Lou Holtz. Lou
Yep.
Holtz coached there, and he went to Kent State, and Marv
Yep.
Levy and Jimmy Laycock. I mean, that's two college football Hall of Famers, one
Well-
NFL Hall of Famer.
Well, I think Nick Saban was involved there as well, wasn't he?
I don't believe he went to Kent State. Miami University in Ohio is the cradle of coaches, but yeah, Saban went to Kent State.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm messing up my MAC schools. I apologize.
That's all right.
I apologize. Okay.
It's still it's 5:17 in the morning in Seattle, Washington, y'all.
Hey, so let's talk about Mike Tomlin. Listen.
Yes.
Mike Tomlin is a 200-game winning regular season coach, I believe. Is that correct? And
I would say at least.
And he has, how many Super Bowls does he have? One. Okay. Now,
Jamie, I gotta read Jamie's comment. Jamie Nemir says, "I hate the kickoff rule in the NFL." Well, join all the people who are real, true-blooded Americans that hate that kickoff. I think that might be like the Red Scare. If you like this kickoff, you may be a communist. Okay, so Jamie, I don't think anybody that's a true-blooded American likes that kickoff. Jay Freeman, Jacob Williams is killing it. This is a great comment. Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, former Chicago Bear, Justin Fields, have almost same rushing yards since Fields entered the league. Howard Schatzky.
Well,
bringing some stats here on you there. All right, 2,300 Lamar Jackson rushing yards and 2,200 Chicago Bears Justin Fields. I think if Mike Tomlin can win with Mason Rudolph, who is from Rock Hill, South Carolina, that's right, Northwestern High School, Football City, USA. Imagine what he can do with a dual threat quarterback. Jay Freeman.
Yeah,
do you want to hear Howard Schatzky's rebuttal to this? And then Jamie said, "Thank you for the shout out, sir. Hey, without y'all, we're nothing. We're the low man on the totem pole. We're the underdog. We're going head to head with ESPN, man. That's how dumb I am. I'm going head to head with a $1 billion company and $1 million." But I got two experts, a guy that was an NFL and coach's agent for over 30 years and a guy who is a master offensive line coach for the last 30 years. Howard Schatzky is a lawyer. Okay, so now he's building up a case in his head, and he's going to bring back a rebuttal, all right, because I know he's very competitive. What do you got to say? Jay, is it okay if I ask Howard about Jacob Williams' comment? Jacob's coming with another comment. This is a great show, guys. I love the energy and the interaction. Jacob Williams, Howard's got a cell phone. Jay Freeman's got a cell phone that works half the time. I got a laptop from the Golden Goat Pawn Shop. Okay, have you ever seen Chico's bail bonds on the back of the Bad News Bears uniforms? It's almost the same place. Now, Howard Schatzky, what do you got to say about Jacob Williams? Because I think Jacob Williams may be our newest member of Totem Pole.
You know, I appreciate his love for Justin Fields, but having a lot of rushing yards could just mean that you have a terrible offensive line. I'm not really concerned about how many yards he runs for. I'm concerned about what kind of complete quarterback he is. And by the way, I'm a Justin Fields believer.
Wow.
I've been watching that kid since high school on those reality shows, and
Georgia, QB1 and all that.
Yeah, the kid's a leader. Unlike Spencer,
I don't like him.
Unlike Spencer Rattler, who I was not a fan of. I really like Justin Fields. I think he's got some talent. I think the Bears gave up on him too early. I think he will end up starting over Russell Wilson, because I don't think Russ is going to cook. Russ's days as the chef are just about over.
Hey, He's throwing football with future son. Trouble hunter. The Pittsburgh Steelers can have all the running talent they want. It still doesn't fix run blocking. Just ask Alabama Crimson Tide's Najee Harris. Now, Coach Jay Freeman.
Yes, sir.
We're getting a lot of comments, dude. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Hey,
By
Coach.
the way,
I wish Monday Night Football was still on ABC. It was something really special. Jamie, it is on ABC, but you got to pay for ESPN. It's all the same. Yes. So, yeah, I agree. Jay Freeman, what do you think?
Monday night.
Hey, so listen. So
Just
go ahead,
hit-
Howard.
here for a second, Jay. I think Jay's exactly right. Monday Night Football used to be an event. Monday Night Football is now just another game.
Everybody used to watch that junk. How did it become daylight so quick? Like, what is going on, man? Like, have you got a light or something? Jacob Williams. I believe in Tomlin more than Fields. But Fields is 10 times better than the last few Steelers quarterback. What do you think, Coach Jay Freeman, about Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers?
All right, hey, so listen, I got a couple things about this, and you gotta bide your time. Hey, one of the things is this: I wouldn't compare him to Lamar Jackson at all. I would go back in my Steelers history, and I would say Antoine Randall L. and Cordell Stewart. I think that's our Steelers quarterbacks that I think remind me more of this cat. Obviously Justin Fields is probably taller and better athlete and this and that than those two, but those are the guys I would look at. The other thing, I think Howard said it from somebody. He said,
I got to ask you a question. How many snaps at quarterback did Antoine Randall L. get for Pittsburgh?
not that many, but he was the guy. He was that guy when they had injuries, right?
Remember that? I know he was like the third string guy, but I don't think he got many reps.
Yeah, not many. He was a emergency quarterback out of Indiana. A really great kid. Hey, but here's what I would say about Mike Tomlin, y'all, and the Steelers. Like, I think Howard said today, he was quoting somebody, he was talking about somebody he said, Mike Tomlin has trouble evaluating quarterbacks effectively. Well, doesn't it look like the move they just made, having Russell Wilson and Justin Fields on the same squad? That kind of takes away that problem. That kind of removes that problem. Now
they got nothing invested in either of those guys. They got nothing invested. A 6th-round pick and $1 million. Yes.
So listen, you've got two totally opposite quarterbacks there. They're very different people. One is much more apparently cerebral and apparently preparation minded. And one is much more, let's go. Let's just run around and make plays. But you can see when he says Tom Brady's diet and this and that, probably that year at Chicago has been a humbling force for him. And then when you get around Russell Wilson, who's a proven guy in the league, done it for a lot of times, Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl loser, failure in Denver, epic failure in Denver, right? So, they both have got probably a little chip on their shoulder. One guy thinks he hadn't had enough time yet, and one guy thinks he better pull his head out of his ass and get it right. You know what I mean? I think that's a great move for them. Because I think it gives Justin Fields time to develop possibly and learn from a guy who has a lot of experience.
I got a question for both of you guys. And by the way, I'm a big fan of the bucket hat there.
I'll send you one.
Do you guys think, given the fact that some of these quarterbacks now with the NIL money are coming out of school, Caleb Williams, his senior season, probably earned about $15 million. So my question to you guys is, do you think that money becomes a factor in evaluating the player and whether or not he's still going to have a work ethic once he has that kind of cash?
Well, I think that they've always had cash if they were a quarterback because they've been cheating for a long time. But if someone is what's that big word? If things from the outside motivate them, they ain't Tom Brady. It's the guys that have something inside of them that motivate them. I just want to read these comments. Trouble Hunter says Tomlin also believed in Mitch Trubisky. History predicts the future. Mitch Trubisky now is the quarterback in the New England Patriots, right? Sam Howell, and Mitch Trubisky. What's his name? May? Yeah, that's a joke. Jacob Williams, Steelers might be the best evaluators of drafting wide receiver talent on the field, only laugh out loud, and a great defense every year. Perfect setup for any quarterback, but they just keep missing on quarterbacks, laugh out loud. Jay Freeman, number 5, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers. What are you thinking, brother? Anything else? You want to go on to the next one?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we pretty much covered him, but I think the other thing to think about is this. And I don't know. I might get Howard fired up. I don't know.
What do you think about the money, about the Caleb Williams deal?
That's what I really want to talk about. Thank you. Sometimes you got to remind me. I'm like the professor.
We all are ADD.
The gray there is a sign of
so
forget things.
So listen, I want you to think about this because this to me goes back to, and I think Howard could probably speak on this in a different level because he's dealt with the players and he's seen the players before the money and after the money. Okay, now listen to this. Think about if you're a boxer. Hey, think about if you're a boxer and you're listening to Rocky, you're listening to Eye of the Tiger, you're grinding, you're grinding, you're doing push-ups, you're running up hills, you got nothing. You got nothing. You're the literal low man on the totem pole.
Now
all of a sudden,
Rob 20 million.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, the pillow feels a little bit nicer. The beautiful woman who tells you stay in bed, baby. That's a little bit more of an appetizer thing.
And don't forget,
there's a softness.
Don't forget the 2,000 thread count sheets.
They're pretty nice. But Egyptian cotton, baby. You know what I mean? But hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? Hey, softness and weakness and easiness is calling to us all. It's calling to us all. Hey, you've arrived. You've gotten where you want to go. You know everything. You're well hooked up. You have a beautiful house. You took care of your mom's house. You took care of your cousin. You took care of your best friend. And now you just got to play. Well, you know what? You don't got maybe the same fire and desire and grit you had before. I think it does come into factor.
Hey, brother, I'm going to tell you one thing. You give Howard Shatsky $12 million, you might not ever see me get off this couch again.
You may not ever get off that couch again without $12 million.
Exactly.
NFC 49ers going to take it all this year. We're going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers.
I don't even need the $12 million. Just give me 1.2.
Woo! 1.2. Robert Ellis, these coaches prima donna. I don't know if the low man on the totem pole can be a prima donna, but thank you very much, Gagnon FC and Robert Ellis, for commenting. This is Totem Pole Nation. We're going over PFF Pro Football Focus's top 10 NFL head coaches that are returning this season. Number 5 was Mike Tomlin, head football coach of the NFL, Pittsburgh Steelers. Jacob Williams says only if the San Francisco 49ers can clean up all this contract drama. Can't lose your locker room after losing the NFL Super Bowl. Number 4 on the PFF top 10 returning NFL head coaches is this guy a prima donna? Because there's a bloodline that is consistent with quite a few coaches on this list. It's William and Mary, and it's Shanahan. Daddy Shanahan. Sean McVay. Sean McVay, number 4, head coach in the NFL returning this season. Sean McVay, head football coach of the Los Angeles Rams. Howard Shatsky. Sean McVay. Man, does he deserve to be number 4 on the top 10 returning NFL coaches?
I mean, for what reason? I just don't see it.
He's got the best hairdo. He uses a lot of gel, and he's got an Instagram model, Eastern European wife.
I like the wife, but I don't know if I'd hire him as my head football coach.
Robert Ellis says no. Coach Old School last year got a little upset and wanted to know this. Do you have to be pretty, and do you have to be young and thin to be a head coach in the NFL?
No, take a look at Brian Daboll.
He's on Ozempic now, and he's lost about 200 pounds. He still weighs 300. I'm just kidding.
I need to get myself some of that Ozempic.
Yes. Look at Andy Reid. The old coaches win.
Andy Reid looks like a walrus.
Yes. I love him. Trouble Hunter says the Arizona Cardinals' Kyler Murray is healthy, and the Rams are starting to look good again, too. 49ers window coming to a close. The 49ers may have the most talented team in the NFL. They have the most players, I believe, in the top 100 PFF, top 100 players in the NFL. Robert Ellis says, but he's young, a lot to grow. Number 4, Sean McVay, Los Angeles Rams head coach. Jay Freeman, how do you feel about the young, pretty head coaches in the NFL?
Sometimes, hey, good morning, Tony Pole Nation and Troy Taylor and Howard Shotsky. Sean McVay from the Rams. Listen, he is pretty. He is young. He is skinny. He does have an Eastern European model wife. He does have one Super Bowl. Is that correct?
Oreo. We got Oreo. Look at Oreo. Oreo, what are you doing up so early? Oreo, are you back?
Oreo is in the house.
McVay is the real-life Will Hunting. By the time he has the experience of Reed, that's terrifying. I can't remember Good Will Hunting, but I remember something about apples.
No, that's the smart kid at Harvard who was the custodian. And he was with Robin Williams. It was Matt Damon, Robin Williams, Ben Affleck.
Yes.
But the point of it is he was a genius. That's what he's trying to say. He's a genius.
Okay.
So, okay, yeah. Well, is he a genius? Probably true. Probably an offensive genius. Sure. Okay, but hey, here's the question for you. How is that
I got to say something to these comments, man. Because look, Trouble Hunter, but they don't have the most cap in the league. Purdy might consider command 60 a year. This guy named Lions are the best team, and I don't see any of you representing them. We're going over the top 10 NFL head coaches according to PFF, and we talked about Dan Campbell and how we love Dan Campbell. Now,
hey,
this guy
I'd be more than happy to represent Dan Campbell. If you can just give him my number, name, and have him give me a call, maybe that meeting set up and we can get that taken care of.
Representing, we have a former NFL and now coach's agent, Howard Shotsky here. And I know that Jay Freeman could coach the offensive line for the Lions. Trust me, he could coach those guys. Jacob Williams is basically, he's just smart. Laugh out loud. That's all I meant. I just joined the stream. I'm just giving you guys a hard time. You're awesome. Name, this is for you, brother. My dad told me, Troy, in order to give it, you got to be able to take it. This is for you. Coach Jay Freeman, I interrupted you again, but, dude, we are getting some great comments, some great interaction from Totem Pole Nation.
Yeah, you interrupt him one more time, I'm going to come through the screen and swat you.
Yeah, well, it's all about Totem Pole. It's not about us.
Hey, you guys might have forgot. I got my start on this channel on the chat. The chat's important, you guys.
Yes.
Wait till you finish your sentence, though.
Well, you know, I'm long-winded, Howard, so it's okay that Taylor cuts me off sometimes.
You are long-winded times. I'll give you that.
Hey, but here's my point. Listen, there's a big change on that roster this year.
Yes.
There's a big glaring change. You might have a GOAT in the NFL who's retired. How do you replace a GOAT? How many people does it take to replace one great player?
You don't
Four.
replace a player, you just move on.
Jacob said no more AD. Yep.
You can't replace people like Tom Brady. You can't replace those people. So you just move on and accept the fact that you don't have that talent anymore.
And this is coming from Michael Strahan's agent. Yeah. Google him. Howard Shotsky. You're exactly right. I forgot about that, Jay.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And the other thing, you guys, is listen. Hey, they won a Super Bowl and they lost a Super Bowl. And don't you think sometimes, as a coach especially, you learn more for that earth-shattering second-place finish than you ever learn from the victory?
I think you always will learn more from losing than winning.
Yes.
That's a very good point, too.
And it was rumors about Sean McVay being burnt out and how Sean McVay, dude, these coaches, especially if they're young and pretty, John Gruden was a great NFL head coach. He won a Super Bowl. But, dude, he was better in the booth. Sean McVay could be a guy that goes to the booth and stays in the booth. But the only problem is John Madden's the only one smart enough to stay in the booth. Unless,
Hey, Coach.
You're, what's his name, Dick Vermeil. Dick Vermeil did it.
Tony Romo.
We got some good comments. Hannibal Lecter, baby. I loved your movie. Coach Old School said it's his favorite comedy of all time. Hannibal calling it now. Chiefs going to three-peat since the Packers. The Packers three-peated with Lombardi?
Hey.
Robert Ellis said my top five. Yeah.
Since the Chiefs are currently the favorite to win the Super Bowl, you're not going out on a limb there.
Yeah. I'm not betting against that quarterback anymore.
You're going to
Patrick Mahomes a bad chicken. Yeah.
Hey, y'all, can I say something about the burnout real fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we go to the next chat, is listen, he's a play caller too, right? So that's partly why he's a genius, because he's the head coach and he's a play caller. Well, listen, a lot of people don't understand that the mental demand that being a play caller takes on you, right? And I think I said this in an earlier thing where we had one, is there's tactical thinking and strategic thinking. To me, the play caller's got the next play, the next play, the next series, the next play, the next play. We're breaking tendencies, the next play. I see this, the next play. The head coach is thinking big picture. He's thinking big picture. He's thinking strategy, kicking game, trick plays, trends. And I think when you have to have all those play calls, it probably is exhausting.
It is very difficult to be both the head coach and call the plays. And if you're going to do that, I would really highly recommend that you have an outstanding defensive coordinator. Because
he hasn't been able to keep one.
Given all your responsibilities on the other side of the ball, you're going to basically be uninvolved with that defense, and you're going to put that in the hands of your coordinator.
You're exactly right.
Like Jason, calling plays is mentally exhausting. So to go through a whole season as the head coach and the play caller, I don't think people realize, the average person realizes just how difficult that is.
Yeah.
Jacob Williams, I don't think the Packers did it during the NFL years. It was before. It was when they had the NFL championship, for the Super Bowl years, I think. Trouble Hunter, Coach Jay was about to say something about Tony Romo. Robert Ellis says, my top five coaches are Reed, 1, 2, Shanahan, 3, Campbell, 4, Ryans, 5, LaFleur. Jacob Williams, even Andy Reid only calls plays with his OC. It's a huge job. So number 4, Sean McVay, head football coach of the Los Angeles Rams. We're going over the PFF, Pro Football Focus, top 10 NFL head coaches that are returning. Number 3 on the PFF, top 10 NFL head coaches that are returning to their team this season for 2024 is the head football coach of the Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh.
Before we get to, I want to talk about Jacob's comment. And Jacob is spot on, because the main play caller in Kansas City was a guy named Eric Bieniemy, who's a former running back from Colorado, who's been for about 6 or 7 head jobs, and just hasn't gotten one of them yet. So
Now he's out of the NFL.
yeah, now he's out of the NFL. But, Eric Bieniemy was really the one calling most of the plays in Kansas City. But to get to Harbaugh, I'm a big fan of Harbaugh. And he's one of the few guys who's ever been able to go from special teams coach to head coach.
An Andy Reid guy.
How often does that happen in the NFL?
George Allen.
I can't think of another guy.
George Allen's the only one I know of. I think he might have been a special teams coordinator.
Hey, I got a trivia question. Who was the first special teams coordinator in the NFL?
Was it Marv Levy? Or was it George Allen? It was one of those two guys. Or Dick Vermeil.
I think it was a wonderful man named Frank Gantz.
I know Frank.
And he was a special forces guy, I believe, in the past. I don't know. That's just random trivia, guys.
I didn't know that. That's a good one.
What do you think about John Harbaugh, Jay Freeman? I know you like to pound the rock. You're an offensive line coach. You're an offensive line mastermind. Line Play Facebook group, the Line Play Brotherhood. John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Jay Freeman. How do you feel about John Harbaugh being number 3 on this list? Some people were calling for John Harbaugh's head. What?
Well, I think that's kind of stupid. But I can't understand how people get tired of getting close but no cigar, right? Like, that's what those people in Baltimore Ravens feel. Hey, we keep getting close, but we're not getting through. We keep knocking on the door, but we're not getting to the big dance. Okay? But listen, as we always talk about, there's chip on the shoulder guys, and there's what do you call it? Family tree guys. What's your word for it?
Like, yeah, you got legacies, chip on the shoulders, and freaks.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that Jim Harbaugh. Go ahead.
I have a name for it. It's called the Lucky Sperm Club.
Yes.
Yeah, I know all about that club. That's right. Don't get us on that trip now. That's another conversation. But the funny thing is we mentioned it the other day. Western Kentucky, their dad was a great college football coach in the history. I mean, he was there for a long time. He did great work at Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. So Jim and John both come from that tree of their father, and they've both been touched by so many people. I don't know John's history as well as I know Jim's history, but because Jim was more of a famous player and this and that, right? Through Michigan, through the Colts, through San Diego Chargers, right? But John kind of came up a little different than Jim. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
That John came up as a coach through the league.
He didn't have that pedigree as a player.
Yes, sir. Okay, so here's what I take about him. Here's my take, and I'll wrap it up. This is a guy that preaches fundamentals, and it's been blessed by Ozzie Newsome for all those years, feeding him great players through the college draft. And when you listen, hey, if you're a coach and you got good ingredients, it's pretty easy to sit down and cook a good meal, right?
Yeah.
Right? We say, hey,
I agree with Jay on that. One thing that's helped Harbaugh a lot, and we talked about this on another show, is the continuity that Baltimore has had in their front office. And not only continuity, but capability. Like Jay said, Ozzie Newsome was a Hall of Fame player.
Yes.
Right now, I'm telling you what, he should be going there twice.
Yeah.
He's also a Hall of Fame NFL executive. Ozzie is one of the best, and not to mention, you'll never meet a nicer guy in the world than Ozzie Newsome. But boy, I'll tell you, whenever we had a guy that we couldn't get signed from Alabama, man, dial up that 410 number, get Ozzie on the phone, because he loved his boys.
Roll Tide, baby. Trouble
Howard,
Hunter.
I was waiting for you to say something about Alabama's connection to Ozzy.
Well,
I was waiting.
you could always get that guy from Alabama signed with Ozzy.
That's awesome.
Trouble
Yeah, hey,
Hunter.
he's a winner, man. He's a winner.
Yes, he is.
Trouble Hunter says Harbaugh keep taking the Ravens to the playoffs with backup quarterbacks almost annually. Jacob Williams says Rich Bisaccia was a great interim head coach because being the special teams coordinator for the Raiders, you already work with every player. The assistant head coach in KC is actually Dave Taub, the special teams coach. Wow. Jacob Williams.
I'm very impressed with Jacob's comment because I'm going to tell you something. Dave Taub is represented by the firm I used to work for, probably what I consider the best special teams coach in the entire NFL. And Jacob made another point that's very important. But I would also add another position to this. The strength coach is probably the guy on the team, the only guy who touches every single kid on that roster for an extended period of time. The special teams coach is probably number 2, but he's not working with the starters. He's only working with the guys that are playing special teams. So I would disagree with that statement only because I know how important the strength coach is, especially in college football.
Robert Ellis said, how a special teams coach became head coach anyway. Bob S. says now Seattle Seahawks head coach Mike McDonald will bring the Seattle Seahawks to the playoffs with the career backup quarterback in Geno Smith. Bob S., I know you're new. And Jacob, dude, you get a helmet sticker. All right? This is the helmet sticker. Watch me smack it on your helmet. Robert Ellis says, go Tigers. Yeah.
No,
I hope that Joe Burrow's coming back.
Hey, listen, none of that go Tigers crap. What are you kidding me? Roll wave.
Number 3 was John Harbaugh, head football coach, the NFL Baltimore Ravens quarterback by Lamar Jackson. Number 2, Baby Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, head football coach of the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan has yet to get over the hump and win an NFL Super Bowl despite holding leads and 1 as the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator and 2 as the San Francisco 49ers head coach. But he is the main reason why the 49ers are the favorites to come out of the NFC once again in 2024. Trouble Hunter says Seattle Seahawks making the playoffs, maybe if a grenade goes off in the NFC West. Wow. Trouble Hunter, you're getting a helmet sticker for the humor. That's good. Howard Shotsky, number 2. Baby Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, head football coach of the NFL San Francisco 49ers, probably one of the most talented teams in the NFL. Seahawks will be a 10-plus win team? Deal with it, Hunter. Uh-oh. Vodka gurgle. Vodka gurgle with another $5 super chat. Wow. Howard Shotsky, you're smiling. Baby Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Mr. Flat Brim. Mr. Flat Brim, he made the flat brim cool again. Max says Dolphins go to the Super Bowl if Tua locks in. You mean like when he locked in like that?
Let me
Aloha.
Tua,
what do you think about Baby Shanahan? Vodka gurgle, this is for you. You get a helmet sticker. Nobody clipped that Coach Troy Chug laugh out loud. Dude, straight bubbles. Yeah.
I'm a fan of Tua, but let's face it, with all those concussions, he's one big hit from being out of the league. One more concussion, that could be it for Tua.
Trouble Hunter. Geno Smith will have 10 wins after the Dallas Cowboys' Dak Prescott lifts the Lombardi. Dude, how many NFL head coaches were left off this list that have a Lombardi trophy? I think that McCartney is one of them. Can you think of anybody else, Howard? Because we know who number one's going to be. Baby Shanahan. I mean, dude, to get John Lynch to run that front office, someone's smart.
Have you ever watched some of Mike McCarthy's press conferences?
You don't become the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys because you're good. You do it because you're going to shake your head, right? You know Jerry Jones. We'll talk about Jerry. Geno won 9 games the last 2 years with a terrible Pete Carroll? A terrible Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll's a great football coach.
It's him, Barry Switzer, and Jimmy Johnson are the only guys ever to win college national championships and Super Bowls. So we got a lot to talk about here, man. Jerry Jones, do you become the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys because you're good or because you'll do what the Jones family Robinson says?
Well, all I can tell you this. My most respected coach in all my years in football, Mr. Parcells, told me, listen, when I'm in, just so you know, when I'm in Dallas, I'm not going to have the same kind of power that I had in New York.
No.
So even Parcells went in knowing Jerry was the boss.
It's Jerry's world.
Jerry was going to make all the final decisions.
We got a lot of comments. Trouble Hunter. Geno Smith will have 10 wins after Dallas Cowboys' Dak Prescott lifts the Lombardi. Bob S. Geno won 9 games.
I can tell you right now, unfortunately for you, neither of those things is going to happen this season.
Geno won 9 games the last 2 years with a terrible Pete Carroll. Max says Bears make the playoffs and Packers miss. The Packers are going to have a tough schedule because they did win a playoff game. Jacob Williams says MM is obedient. Mike McCarthy, Dallas Cowboys NFL head coach, is obedient. That may be the number one word that you need to use when you interview for the Dallas Cowboys job. Deion Sanders is obedient, okay? As long as you pay him and you draft his son, he will be your head coach.
Hold on now. Now I got to disagree. The last thing you're going to call Coach Prime is obedient.
He's obedient to Benjamin Franklin.
Coach Prime has FU money already.
But not to Jerry. Jerry's his homie. Does Jerry have any homies?
You'll find out.
I will. I'll find out.
Yeah, when they don't draft Deion's kid.
Trouble Hunter. Man, McCarthy, Doug Peterson, Sean Payton. So there's 3 coaches. Trouble Hunter gets a helmet sticker. Dude, Trouble Hunter. Dude, Sean Payton, Doug Peterson can coach football. Jacob Williams, the Cowboys are good for the NFL. Jerry pays for the rings, but can't win one. Laugh out loud. Elizabeth, good morning. I'm under a tornado watch. Well, Elizabeth, this is for you. Go
Elizabeth is in the house.
Ryan Smith, who's the best coach in the NFC North? Is that my friend Ryan Smith that coaches the NFL? Max, Chubb gets injured again and the Browns have a bad season. Max, Puka has a breakout season and the LA Rams make a big run in the playoffs. All right, Ryan Smith wants to know, Jay Freeman, who's the best coach in the NFC South?
NFC North.
NFC North. I'm sorry. I don't know the difference between the North and the South, up and down.
I don't know. Probably the guy we talked about from the Packers or the guy we talked about from Detroit. Probably those 2 guys, right? Hey,
What do you
can
think
I
about
say?
Kyle Shanahan?
Oh man.
Mr.
Well, again,
Flatbread,
that's
J.E.
a family.
Shanahan.
That's a family. He's coming from his dad. He
He's a
grew up
legacy.
around it. He grew up around the game of football. There's a great photo, and I try to remember who it was, but it was I was listening to it during the Cool Clinic this year, and it was somebody talking about a young John Gruden and a young Kyle Shanahan as children or whatever, like running back and forth on a 49ers plane or some kind of maybe it was a Packers plane, I'm not sure. And it's a pretty cute story, because they grew up like children around the game. But hey, listen, that guy's put in his time. Okay, that guy works, and listen, they run outside zone better than anybody. No doubt about it. I mean, it looks like, of course, they got, Chris Forrester is their O-line coach, and they got Williams at left tackle, and they got all the trimmings, man. They got all the players. But I would say this, look, and I'm not trying to crown John Lynch right now, but I'm saying if you look at trends, to me, John Lynch is putting in a body of work right now. And I
He's a
loved it when
Stanford
Howard,
guy.
yeah. And well, Stanford by way
Bill
of
Walsh,
what?
Denny Green.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me started about Denny Green. I would put that one Minnesota Vikings team as far as prototypical drafted talent up with anybody of Denny Green. Anyway, that's another conversation. But listen, Shanahan, he's a class act. He does a great job. Coach mentioned the flat bill. That's his age, y'all. That's his age. My head coach I work with right now, same age, and they got a flat bill. That's just how they represent it. But the one thing can I mention is the guy talking about Seattle, the new coach in Seattle that came from the Baltimore Ravens, the defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
right? And I think we will see an uptick in Seattle this year. And I think, the same way that Pete rejuvenated and reignited the Seattle franchise when he took over, I think we're going to see the same thing. And I think that the players in Seattle just love this guy. I mean, they love the quality of his teaching, okay? And they love the fundamental aspect. Anyway, I still think they need some more personnel there. But anyway, one more thing I'd love for us to talk about before we go is the coach in Miami. I'd like for us to talk about the talent of the coach in Miami.
Yeah, Trouble Hunter says if Elizabeth is under tornado watch, she should go to MetLife Field. No touchdown there anytime soon. Yes. Howard Schotsky, is that a helmet sticker?
No,
Is that a helmet sticker?
Up
That's
to-
got to be. Hunter, we got some. Dude, Totem Pole Nation is getting bigger, faster, and stronger every day, dude. Max said laugh out loud. Uh-oh, hold on for a second. Is that who I think it is?
Hey.
It's the president of Totem Pole. It is Coach Ball. He wins 90% of his games in fantasy football. He lives on the Tampa Bay in St. Petersburg, Florida. He's the season ticket holder of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is a lifelong Buffalo Bills fan. He's had some bad Mondays, Super Bowl Mondays. Coach Ball, how's it going today?
Hey, man, we're weathering the storm, man. Just checking on friends right now. I'm at a neighbor's house, checking on his place. We had a big tree limb fall down right beside our house. So I'm thinking about Gator right now, man, because he's going to be one that it was going right towards them. So I'm really worried about him. I've messaged him. Have you guys heard from him today yet?
No.
No, not yet.
I've not heard from him.
Yeah.
He may not have cell service.
It's my neighbor's spot right here. Yeah, I would think so, man. If he didn't message me back already, that's what it'd be. That would be what I'm guessing.
How's
Let me
your
go show you my spot. We've got power and everything,
as
We've
long
got
as
power, so we're good on that aspect.
I saw that big ass tree branch, so you're lucky that didn't hit the house.
Yeah, I was outside when that thing hit, so I was Luckily, I
must have
wasn't
You were
stressed.
outside? What were you like on Caddyshack?
Here's what I want to know: how loud was the crack when the branch broke?
It was pretty vicious, man. It was pretty vicious. Yeah. So my
Yeah,
lighting
I'm
went
gonna read
down
these
here, so I
comments.
got to put my lights back up.
Look at you! You
All the
got
trash cans knocked down.
a little tiki bar out there.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
We're just glad you're
Howard's
okay, Coach
smiling.
Bald.
This is the big branch right here. Coach Jay Freeman, send me two offensive linemen. Stat.
Hey, was that a hot tub I saw over there?
Yes, sir.
Oh
Hot
my
tub into the pool. Into the pool.
Yeah.
wow!
Yeah. So you see this big branch.
Man, don't ever let me visit. I might not leave.
I wouldn't leave. I didn't want to leave.
The thing that's going to be tough is 4 o'clock is about 2 o'clock is when we're getting the high tide. So it's supposed to be about 4 or 5 feet above. So
Oh,
we'll probably
shit.
get in the backyard. We had some hellacious waves last night as well crashing into the yard.
I
And
can.
that's coming off the bay.
Hey, Coach
Yeah.
Bald.
Yeah,
Coach
this is
Ball,
your
are you
Tampa
up?
Bay right here. But
Coach, is your
yeah,
house
man.
up a little bit?
What's that?
Are you up on a slab? Are you up a little bit off the ground?
Yeah, we're pretty elevated on this island here. We're one of the elevated spots that's kind of the highest mark. So we're lucky with that aspect too. The people that live south of us, they have to go through a one hellacious bridge, and it's underwater right now, and they can't come out of their house when it's like that, man. They're kind of stuck there and everything. But you know what? I'm still in good spirits. I'm gonna put this out here. You might want to put me on the big cam there, Coach.
All right.
Fit this thing.
There it
Right
is.
there.
That's beautiful.
Texans. Max says Texans make the AFC Championship. T Money said Xavier Worthy 1,000+ yards on the season, gets Offensive Rookie of the Year. Chase says hi. Jacob Williams says, wow, that branch is a whole tree itself. T Money, Chase, Max.
You're just reading the comments. You don't have any comments there? Because I happen to agree with T Money. I think Xavier Worthy is a hell of a player, and I think there's a very good chance he does win Rookie of the Year.
Who does he play for, Howard?
Xavier Worthy from the University of Texas, coached by one of the finest in the game, Brennan Marion.
Ooh, I like him. Do you still like Brendan Marion?
Oh, Brennan and I are great friends.
Okay, good. I like him too.
Don't have a professional relationship anymore.
Yes, Ryan Smith says America. Justin Medley, Coach Bald with the red, white, and blue. Man.
Yeah, man. I love you guys. I want to say thank you to everybody with Totem Pole Nation and everything. But I got to get out of here. We were fighting.
Glad you came on just to let us know you're all right.
Yeah. Well, I'm not okay, man. I'm not okay. I've been struggling with a mom and her not doing well. And
Yep.
last night she took her final breath. So
Oh man,
she's not.
I am
Yeah,
sorry,
man.
brother.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I love y'all. Totem Pole Nation. Love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Love you, Coach Bald.
Oh man, that'll deflate the football right there.
Yeah. It just shows you football is not important, man. What's important is our friendships,
Man,
and our relationships and our loved ones.
I feel terrible for Kyle.
Wow, that's tough. It's so tough.
Jacob Williams, Texans are the next Chiefs. They have general manager, coach, and quarterback on alignment. What the front office has done in 2 seasons since the Watson fiasco has been nothing short of legendary. Jacob Williams, you're amazing. And just watching my friend Kyle, Coach Bald, walk around his backyard reminds me of us being kids. And he would look through the blinds, look outside all the time, walk outside of his apartment on his, not his mobile phone, but his cordless phone, with the metal antenna. And man, I cried when I went to see him at his house and where he lives. Jacob Williams, much love to Coach and his family. Trouble Hunter says, I want that to be true, Jacob, but that reminds me of how people spoke about the Bengals a few years ago. Max said, I'm going to rank top 2 teams in every division. AFC. Wow. Max, you're legit. Max, you get a helmet sticker. I'm going to rank top 2 teams in every division: AFC East, Dolphins, Jets; AFC North, Ravens, Bengals; AFC South, Texans, Titans; AFC West, Chiefs, and Raiders. All right, to complete our list, number 2 was Kyle Shanahan, head football coach of the NFL San Francisco 49ers. We're looking at PFF, Pro Football Focus, top 10 NFL returning head coaches. Number 1 was a guy who – the Philadelphia Eagles have fired 2 coaches that have won Super Bowls. Andy Reid, head football coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Howard, have you got anything you want to say about Andy Reid? Yeah, it's a little. Coach Ball gave us some bad news there at the end, y'all. He said that his mother-in-law, his mom, has passed away. Ryan Smith said Titans, ? So. Totem pole, we talk about faith, family, and football in the future of content creation, but faith and family should be first. And sometimes I've got my priorities messed up, but faith, family, that's the right order. Andy Reid, I don't think we need to say anything about Andy Reid. He's the best right now doing it, and he's not pretty.
His body of work speaks for itself. Would you agree? His body of work speaks for itself.
Max said no one else in the AFC South is going to be any good. Howard, do you want to say anything about life lessons? Coach Bald's mom passing away. Jay Freeman, anything you want to say?
Yeah, yes, sir. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and she was a Floridian. And I used to always try to talk to her about coming out to Washington State. And she loved Florida too much. She loved the warm weather and everything like that. And what you said, Troy Taylor, is so important. And now listen, we're talking about football coaches and football players, especially football coaches today, the top 10 NFL coaches returning in the league. I guarantee you something. Every time one of those coaches has an anniversary, I send him a couple hearts with a saying from Bear Bryant. You know what it says? There's a great place in heaven for coaches' wives. There must be a special place in heaven for coaches' wives. But that goes for coaches' families, right? Is that what we need is a 5-year contract and a wife who's willing to put up with a lot of neglect. But it's not just wives. Coach Troy Taylor said it. When we're chasing greatness as a football coach, you have to put in those hours. You have to put in that time watching huddle, watching film, on the field, in the weight room. Where am I at right now? I'm waiting for the weight room to open. I'm waiting to run on the field. I'm not chilling at home with my family, right? And so when I see that and I hear Coach Ball do that, hey, what grace, what composure, what class he has. You know what I mean? And also look at this, y'all. He took his wife, he took his mom to the casino and they won money. And he did everything that she wanted to do at the end, correct? He took her to the casino. They made a bunch of good-looking paella with a bunch of seafood in it, and they were living life. You know what I mean? But my heart goes out to him. My heart goes out to him, no doubt. But listen, if there's anything we could take from today, make sure you got your priorities in order. Make sure you got your priorities in order, and make sure you don't pray to the altar of something that may not give back to you the same way you give to it.
Where'd you hear that? Where'd you get that from?
From my head.
Right now?
Yeah. I don't know. I was a philosophy major, man. You know what I mean? I just thought I'd be the next great American poet. You know what happened?
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. They want to allow us to have a great poet in this day and age, man. Walt Whitman was the first great American poet, and they've erased him from the history books.
Yeah.
Coach Bald's mom passed away.
Paul.
His mother-in-law, not his mom. His wife's mom.
Yeah.
His mother-in-law. Yeah.
In her sleep?
He didn't say.
Last night during a hurricane.
He didn't say.
Oh, wow.
He just came on and I asked him, I said I was glad to hear he was doing all right. And I was talking about the weather.
Yeah.
He said, no, I'm not. You know, she took her last breath, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I know I was hurting.
No, man, it's like, I'm going to cry now, but I don't care. Like, I've known that guy his whole life pretty much since he was in 7th grade.
Well, you know, of all people, I can understand and sympathize for what he's going through. You know,
you got empathy. You can empathize.
I lost my dad last November, and you guys all know what happened with my wife. So, unfortunately, this is the circle of life, man, and it's going to be a tough time for him and his wife for a little bit, because you can't replace a parent. You can replace a head football coach, but you can't replace a parent.
Yep. Man from Seoul. We've had a great show, man. We've had a great show, man. I want to say thank y'all.
Yeah.
Paul, how was your weekend? How you doing today?
It was great, man.
How's you doing? How's mom?
Mom's doing great, and it's just so, man. I was just telling my mom about Coach Ball's mom.
Man, let me tell you.
And yesterday was my mom's birthday. She turned 79.
I've never seen a woman with cancer who has as great a spirit as your mom does.
Hey, can I share one thing with Paul about something? My mother-in-law is a 12-year stage 4 lung cancer survivor. So, you know, I mean, it's amazing what love and caring can do for somebody. Right? And my wife tells stories about when she had this bad cancer by my mother-in-law, and she wasn't eating. And my wife took her to Kentucky Fried Chicken and started to give her Kentucky Fried Chicken and Krispy Kreme donuts and just loving her up. And she came back from it, and she's lived 12 years since.
And she's pissed off that he made her gain 4 pounds.
Yeah. I'll talk to you about that on the side, Howard. Hey, but listen, we did have a great show today, Totem Pole Nation. We had a great activity in the chat. I don't ever seen Coach Troy Taylor give out as many helmet stickers as he gave out today. But hey, what is our enthusiasm? What was it tempered by? Our enthusiasm, our excitement was tempered by the fact that we lost someone in our family today. We lost someone that we love today. Go ahead, Howard.
Real life entered the chat.
Yeah. What's important? I love y'all, man. And you got a great day. You have a great day. You have a great day for it.